Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for attending our learning clinic today on Wiktionary and Lexemes on Wikidata. We have two of the best Wikimedians today to share on this topic, coming from Dagbani Wikimedians user group and Wikimedia community user group Malaysia, and of course with the full support of the Let's Connect team. Next slide, please. So this learning clinic will explore on some of the interesting areas of Wiktionary and Lexemes. And here are the logos of both projects for your information. And as we go along, you will learn things that you may want to try to yourself as an editor or to the community you are involved in. So let me introduce our two sharers for today's session. We have Sadik Shahadu, the Executive Director and Projects Manager of the Dagbani Wikimedians User Group, and Taufik Rosman, Treasurer General of Wikimedia Community User Group Malaysia, and also the Wikimedian of the Year for 2023. And at the end of the session, we hope that their imparted skills motivate us in our work as Wikimedians. And before we start with the interesting discussions, let's go over to some important points to make this session fruitful and a peaceful space for learning. So Let's Connect is both operated by individual volunteers who are also active editors in several Wikimedia projects, and also by the best people we have in the foundation. We are here, of course, to learn new skills, but at the same time, we make it a point that we enjoy this learning process. Whatever questions or suggestions you have in mind, always feel free to share by raising your hand during the question and answer portion or utilize the chat. Lastly, we also wanted to encourage the participants to share their insights about the session, since it is not only from the sharers that we can learn, but of course from the people in this room. So what do we expect to learn today? The two sharers will be discussing their experiences and knowledge about these two projects, and we hope to understand the link, comparison, and significance of both these projects in open knowledge and language preservation. We also expect to learn how we can integrate these two projects, see what best fits to us as editors and also for our community. And then for our agenda, uh, I've done the brief introduction, and later on Chino will do the icebreaker. And then Taufik Rosman will be having discussion on Wiktionary. And after that, could ask questions to Taufik. And then we proceed with Lexemes, which will be discussed by Sadik Shahadu. And again, question and answer for Sadik, and then the closing. So for the icebreaker, let me call Chino.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us on a weekend. I appreciate it. And just a friendly space reminder that since we are recording this session, those who are just joining, if you are not willing to be recorded, you can turn off your camera. And let's obey all the code of conduct in all terms of communication. Okay, let's make this space a little bit interactive with starting with this icebreaker. My colleague will paste the Jamboard link for the icebreaker in the chat. So we have some words on the like the chits, as you can see on the screen. You can translate these words into your own language. Either you can paste it on the Jamboard just by highlighting what is the translated version and which language you are translating into. Or you can paste your responses in the chat as well, and we will move it to the Jamboard. Yeah, I can see some of the anonymous Google animals on the board. As you can see, there are few instructions as well. Where to start, like the word, what does it mean? How is it pronounced? And if there is any sentence that you would like to highlight here.
Just a friendly reminder to our speakers, because we had interpreters reach out to me to say, please speak slowly for our interpreters to keep up. Thank you.
Well, I see responses in the chats as well. Chinendu has pasted that Igbo language sentences. Pardon me if I'm not pronouncing it properly. I'm just trying to read it. Is it Ahiriko? Pronunciation is okay. M. It starts with M. Okay. Uh, is it okay for you to unmute yourself and pronounce this for us properly?
All right, is Ahiroku.
Oh, I did it well.
Can you
Thank you
hear
so
me?
much. Okay.
Okay, the second
Since
one
we
is
have,
Mpopota.
pardon, can you please repeat?
I said the second one is Mpopota, that's pronunciation. Mpopota.
Oh, okay. Anyone else would like to share their pronunciations? We still have 7 minutes to share these translations. And we would love to see different voices.
We can start with something easy. For Spanish, for mouth is boca. Boca.
Thank you, Cassie.
I can maybe chime in as well. For mouth, in Dutch, it's mond.
Sorry, what is the second one?
Mond in Dutch.
Modes. Okay. It's so good to see these colorful languages in different versions and different origins. Thank you for making it so looking so good. Okay, let me look at the chat also if you have any other responses. Mouth is move in Punjabi. Okay. What is the sentence called in your language?
In Spanish, it's frase. Frase.
Oh, frase. Okay. I see some of the responses on the jam board for this sentence. It is called Zin in Dutch, Kalimat in Bahasa Indonesia, and Kumle in Turkish. Kumle, okay.
So in Arabic, it's jumla, but I think in Turkish they say it as well jumla, so C is actually G. So it's kind of similar to the Arabic, jumla.
Oh, Jumla. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just a fun
Okay.
fact here. From the Arabic and Turkish word jumla, I'm just sharing a fun fact that the word jumla, it came to South Asia as well, but because we already have some other words for sentences or sentence, we use jumla more for like a funny thing that someone says, like if someone is making a joke. So it's in a different context that we use the word jumla.
Oh, wow. I heard it for the first time in a South Asian contest, actually. Thank you, Sadik, for bringing
Okay,
this
so
up.
Urdu. Sorry for just saying that all of South Asia. Let me just be more specific. In North Indian languages like Urdu, Hindi, Punjabi, the word Jumla is used a lot.
And what is the context basically they follow to use this word?
So, like if someone is telling a joke, so they say,
Joke?
you know, "तो कोई जुमला सुनाओ यार." So yeah,
Oh,
tell
okay,
us a
like a
joke. So
chutkula kind of.
yeah,
Even I
it's
would
Yeah.
like to
it's
add one more
it's similar
line.
to the.
Yes,
Yeah.
please go ahead, Sid.
So if someone saying that he's very jumlebaj, that means a kind of fake, like he only say the words and not do any actions, not take any actions, just words, just saying that okay, I'm going to do this and that, and doing no action on that. That's it.
बातों के शेर?
जुमलेबाज मतलब
Who's
खाली बातें करने
who's not
वाले.
who doesn't put his talk into action. Given the current political scenario, this word is used a lot in India. So, and some people from other other linguistic contexts might even know the second part of the word bazi, which is from Persian origin, if I'm not wrong, which is play. So a play with words is jumle bazi. So someone is just playing with words, or playing with sentences, you can say, and not actually doing things.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. Even I myself learned this too for the first time. Thank you so much.
Chinu, like I am just adding translations with my mobile device. So can you help me in arranging in Jamboard, because it is scattered. The Hindi words I translated, it is
Yeah,
scattered
sure.
all over.
Sure. No issues. I'll do it. Okay. So in some languages, we have sentence got translated, which is zin in Dutch, zumle in Turkish. I hope I pronounced this right this time. And kalimat bahasa in Indonesia. Okay. And frase in Spanish. I'm sorry, I can't read the Arabic one. Please pardon me. Ayat in Malay. And we have vakya in Hindi. And for mouth, we have mu in Hindi, mond in Dutch, whisperak in Dutch. I think this is for something else. Okay, mu also in Punjabi, mulut in Malay. Okay, nice to see this various diversity. And pronunciation is pronunciation in Spanish. Okay, it's sebutan in Malay.
In Spanish.
This looks so beautiful with so many responses. Thank you so much, everyone, for making it so colorful and diversified. Okay, now following the time for this, we will get back to our main deck. And thank you everyone for participating in this Jamboard icebreaker. Okay, we will start with our first sharers slot, which is Taufik Rosman. Are you there, Taufik? Are you ready?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Over to you, Taufik.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me open and on. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us for this learning clinic. So I'm Taufik Rosman. I'm one of the Wikimedian here in Malaysia, and I primarily focus editing in Wiktionary And one of my first project that I did was Wiktionary, because like some people they start with Wikipedia, but for me I start with Wiktionary, and I would like to share with everyone here. I believe that everyone here are Wikimedians, Wikipedians, but then maybe not everyone here know much about Wiktionary or even have edited Wiktionary. Maybe before we start, maybe everyone can put in the chat and say yes if you have edited Wiktionary, and say no if you haven't. Would like to know. Yes, yeah, that's good. Yeah, let's see. So some no, few yes. Okay, yes. Okay, so there's no here. So that's why we are here, to learn more about this other project that we have in Wikimedia. So what is Wiktionary? So actually, Wiktionary is the second Wikimedia project launched, which is in December 2002. The first one is Wikipedia, and the second one is actually Wiktionary. But then nowadays, not that much people know about Wiktionary, because there's more other um, I would say famous Wikimedia projects out there. For example, like Wikidata, Wikimedia Commons. But then Wiktionary also is quite famous actually, especially in the language or linguistic world, where usually whenever people trying to find meaning of a word in another language, or trying to find the etymology or the origin of the word, usually Wiktionary comes up to mind among linguists and other people. And also this um, dictionary comes up in the Google. So whenever you search something, sometimes other than Wikipedia, Wiktionary also comes there. So Wiktionary contains all words in all languages. So not only, for example, in English Wiktionary, not only English is added there, but also other language, including your language that you speak. And then Wiktionary is rather strict with the format and have many templates. Okay, next slide. So why why edit Wiktionary? Because in my opinion, especially for new people, newcomers, if you want to have other people to join in the Wikimedia movement, I would really recommend everyone to start with Wiktionary, because it's rather easy, it's easier, faster, and I would say newcomer friendly. Because if we start with Wikipedia, especially in English Wikipedia, is rather I myself, I feel intimidated when editing in English Wikipedia. So Wiktionary, I would say, is it doesn't take a lot of time for you to edit Wiktionary, and it can be addictive. Um, I could vouch that, because I've been editing since 2013, when I was in secondary school. So I edit from 2013 until now, and I also introduced Wiktionary to my father actually. Um, I introduced Wiktionary a few months ago, and after I taught him how to edit Wiktionary, um, he's I could say he's addicted to it. So he's been editing Wiktionary, try to edit every single day. So from there, maybe you will be also be addicted to Wiktionary. Okay, next. Next. Okay. So for me, since I'm in the Wikimedia Community User Group Malaysia, I mostly I edit and organize events in in Malaysia, and most of the events here I primarily focus with Wiktionary because in Malaysia there's a lot of local languages, many indigenous languages, and most of these words, this language are endangered, and there's not that much information that you can find online. So that's why I organize edit-a-thon. So for those who are new to Wikimedia, edit-a-thon is where it's an event where you try to edit pages as much as possible in a period of time. So for those who would like to organize an edit-a-thon, so here's some steps that I would recommend. So before, try to find collaborations. For instance, I mostly collab with, for example, in Malaysia here, we have like universities, schools, associations, NGOs that primarily focus on languages. So you can contact them and also try to collab with them. And second, so usually when I organize at the athon, when I teach how to edit Wiktionary for the first time, I usually just go straight to the point. I just go with the practical side. So which means when I introduce Wiktionary, afterwards, I ask to the participants, okay, turn on your laptops and go to Wiktionary and let's try to edit Wiktionary together. For me, it takes not a lot of time to teach someone to edit Wiktionary. I would say at max, it might take around 15 minutes, but for fast learners, it might take around 5 to 10 minutes. And then afterwards, clean ups because Wiktionary, especially in English Wiktionary, they really focus with formats and templates because, for example, if you use the wrong format, they might warn you or they might give a heads up to make sure that you follow the entry layout that is provided by Wiktionary. So this might take a while, but then if you give a heads up during the edit-a-thon session, so that will reduce the work that is needed to clean up your participants' edits. Okay, next slide. Okay, next. Okay, advantages of Wiktionary trainings. Okay, next. So here, so with Wiktionary trainings, here's are some of the advantages that I find. The first one is to increase content because it's easier to get more new pages in one edit-a-thon. So I've organized, I would say, more than 10 edit-a-thons for the past few years. And for example, my team went to an Aboriginal people village here in northern part of Malaysia. And then we gathered the villages. The language is quite endangered and there's only few hundred people that could speak the language. And only that area, the region that speak that language. So we gather around 10 villages and just around three hours, I would say 3 to 4 hours. How many pages do you think that these 10 villages have added? Any guess in the chat? Yeah, so some of them actually, I would say one person can manage to edit more than 10 words, 10 pages. Because in Wiktionary, what you can add is only the language, the meaning, and the spelling of the word. These three important parts. So for example, like my language, I speak Malay. So for example, I want to add the word ayat. So ayat, AYAT, and then the language of the word is Malay, and then the meaning is sentence. And then this word is considered a noun. That's all. So it's quite quick. So one word can take around 5 minutes for you to edit, rather than in Wikipedia, it might take um, several minutes, half an hour, and more. And then to expand the movement, attracts newcomers to join the movement, higher retention than other projects. I've collabed with one of the teaching institution here in Malaysia, and we managed to have a wiki club there. And with that, that language in that university have been added around 10,000 words in Malay Wiktionary. So that's quite a lot. So I would say Wiktionary, it would be a great place, especially for language lovers, and also to gain more collaboration. Okay, next. Okay. So yeah, so like what I said, Wiki Club was formed due to Wiktionary training. So here we have our first Wiki Club in Malaysia called Kent Wiki Club. So they study about the indigenous language of Kadazan Dusun. So ever since they started until now, they have added around 7,000 words. So that's quite a lot. So for your information, lemma here is a linguistic term, which means words. I would say in simple term, it means words. Okay, next. Okay, so one of the projects that I've done here is called Wikikata. So Wikikata, kata here means word. Same the one like in Indonesian. So preserving indigenous languages in Malaysia. Next. Okay, so it's an outreach to preserve Aboriginal languages in West Malaysia. So far, we've done this twice, 2023 and 2024. So these two language is Aboriginal language, and they only have few hundred speakers, and most of them live in the rural area of Malaysia. So here's one of the villages that try to add their own language into Wiktionary. So even them, they can edit Wiktionary. Okay, next. So for each outreach, we've added around 300 words. So like I said, it doesn't take a lot of time for you to edit Wiktionary. Next. Okay, how to edit Wiktionary. Okay, next. Okay, so here's the example for Malay in English dictionary. So the only important part here is the name of the language, the type of the word, noun, and also the meaning. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 part is important here. The rest are optional. Okay, next. Next slide. Okay. So this previous. Okay, this is the basic layout. So here you write for those who use source editing. So you need to write like this: the name of the language, Malay, Chinese, Punjabi, and others, and then the type of the word. So there's noun for objects, places, buildings, and then there's verbs, which is action, and then adjective, which is the characteristic of something. And then there's others. So you need to remember back what you have learned in school. And then after this, you need to have this template, head, and then MS is the code of the language, which is Malay. So English is EN, Tamil is TA, French is FR, and others. And then you write noun. So if the header is noun, the template is also noun. If the header is verb, the template is also verb. And then hashtag meaning. So like before this, kelihatan, which means quickness. So we put quickness here. Okay. So yeah, that's all. Next slide. So maybe for few minutes I will demonstrate you on how to edit Wiktionary. Maybe can I share my screen here? Okay, share. Okay. So I believe everyone can see the page here. So I edit in English Wiktionary first. Each language edition have their own format. So for example, English Wiktionary has a different format than Malay Wiktionary, than French Wiktionary. So you need to check how's the format for each language. So for English, you can find it here, Wiktionary entry layout. So this is the basic. So you can just copy like this. And reference is optional in Wiktionary. Unlike Wikipedia, Wiktionary doesn't require reference for each page. So here, I'll try to add this word, Hobasanan. So this is one of the language in Malaysia. So here, as you can see, it's red, so which means it doesn't exist yet. So Hobasanan, which means culture. So culture here is a noun. So you can choose here, noun. Okay. So with this, you just change it. So this Hobasanan is used in Central Dusun, and it means culture. And then here, you can use this head. The language code is DTP and then noun. So let's check here, show preview. Yeah, so you can also add the link here. So yeah, so this is the basic. So that's it. It's quite, it took me around 1 or 2 minutes just to add one word. And then after that, create, and then I publish it. Done. So that's for one word in Wiktionary. So maybe after this you can try yourself how to add few words in your own language. But then, for example, like here, this is English Wiktionary, and if you would like to add an English word in English Wiktionary, so the definition you need to be more lengthy. So for example, I want to add the word culture. So the word culture, the definition is quite long here. He asks blah, 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 blah. So same goes, if I want to add Malay words in Malay Wiktionary, I have to put that lengthy definition. So yeah, that's all on how to edit a Wiktionary. So hopefully you've gained something from this, and that's all from me actually. So this quite doesn't take a lot of time for you to learn Wiktionary. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Taufik, for that interesting discussion and also for sharing that your father is really into editing the Wiktionary, and it's just uh, uh, proof that Wiktionary is for everyone, for any age, and it's the most one of the most user-friendly projects in Wikimedia. And at this portion, we would this would be a space to ask Taufik if you have further clarifications about Wiktionary editing, or if participants would want to share their experience in editing Wiktionary, you may do so. So there's a first question from Eben. Is there a way to find out a list of missing words in Wiktionary?
Okay. In my opinion here, there's no really a list because you need to figure it by yourself. But maybe if you know some coding, that maybe you can cross reference and see which words are missing. Unlike, for example, later we will learn about Wikidata. So Wikidata has a list of words that are missing, but then for Wiktionary, you need to know how to do the coding. So as long as it's red, the link is red, so it's missing. Okay.
Thank you, Taufik, for answering that question. And Suyash would like to share his experience. Go on, Suyash.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Taufik, for giving this wonderful presentation. I would just like to share my experience. Like, I am the person who loves to learn as many languages as possible. Currently, I am having some 19 plus languages knowledge. So when I started to learn this Fiji Hindi, uh, this dictionary helped me a lot to understand that how things were like to learn the language, so that I become the admin later on. Then I realized that there are something missing, or I can also contribute to this beautiful project. What I'm just suggesting, like I'm just sharing you a link over here. So being as a photographer, I love and a communist, I love photography a lot. So you can see that I have shared one link. It is about the tongue, the tongue. So whenever like so the places where we need to where we can showcase the images also, like if you go through this link. So I'm trying to add images as much as possible wherever it is necessary or needed. So it also makes some more uh, understandable, or you can say the a book with a picture gives you more meaning or more interest. So likewise I started adding pictures to the Wiktionary. so that people can understand more clear. So that's it. Thank you. That's what I wanted to share here.
Thank you, Suyash. Yeah, aside from adding definitions, we can also add images and even pronunciations using Lingua Libre and Spell for Wiki. Think. And we have another question. How are dialects of the same language represented?
Okay. So for example here, the Malay language, so the header would be Malay, and then in the line of the definition, for example, a hashtag, and then you put the label. For example, here, I'm from Sabah, so I speak the Sabah dialect of Malay. So there's a template called label or LB, and then you write Sabah, and afterwards, then you write the definition of the word. So that's how dialects are represented in Wiktionary. Same goes for English. So for example, the header would be English, and then before the definition, you can put the label, which is, for example, Australia, Canada, United Kingdom, and others. So that's how it is represented for dialects.
Thank you for answering that question, Taufik. And yeah, so now if we don't have any questions, we can move on with the next presenter. But just in case you have questions for Taufik later on, you can just share it in the chat. Okay. And now for Lexemes on Wikidata, Sadik Shahadu will be presenting it.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible enough? Can everyone hear me? Okay, great.
Yes, Sadik, it's clear.
All right. Thank you so much, Taufik. I really learned a lot. I haven't edited Wiktionary yet in my language, and it's so inspiring to hear some of the things that we can use Wiktionary for and how it helps document our languages. Thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. My name is Sadik Shahadu, as I've been introduced from Dagbani Wikimedians user group, also the steering committee member for the Wikimedia Language Diversity Hub. I also work as West Africa Language Coordinator at Art and Feminism. You sound a little bit too far. Sorry. I hope this works now. Okay.
Can I just pause, Sadiq? I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm getting interpreters to say if you could speak a little bit louder or into a mic. You sound a little far away.
Okay. Okay. Does this work now?
Can I get a response from interpreters? Just please.
Else I could switch my headset.
Can you
Does this
speak?
work?
Can you speak a little bit more, Sadiq?
Yeah, so as I was saying, my name is Sadik from the Dagbani Wikimedians user group. Can everyone hear me? Please let me know. Other than that, I could just switch to my normal microphone.
Yeah, if it's possible, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you. It's just our interpreters feel like you sound very far away.
Okay, let me switch. Is it better now? Does this work?
I think it's the headphones because I tend to experience that headphones that are Bluetooth always make me sound far away. Interpreters. Yeah, they're saying it's not improving. I don't know if you want to go without your headphones or try a new set of headphones.
Yeah, so this is without the headphone. Yeah, so this is without headphone. Just let me know. Does this work?
I think we'll have to move forward. Interpreters, is that okay?
Okay. All right. So next slide. Okay, so thank you for joining this session. I will be talking to you briefly about Lexemes. I know there's so much that I wanted to share, but because of time constraints, I will be focusing more on the most important component of Lexemes or lexicographical data on Wikidata. So if you ask me, I will say a lexeme is a lexical element of a language, such as a word, a phrase, or a prefix. And also on Wikidata, lexemes are the lexicographical layer in Wikidata. So this is a project also built on Wikibase, which is also like a tool that supports Wikidata. And then lexemes also have like Wikibase entities, just like Wikidata items. And it's also, as I mentioned, is built on Wikibase environment or the software that powers Wikidata. So it has so much to do with Wikidata, and there's a very thin line between Wiktionary and Wikidata and lexicographical data. So Wikidata, can everyone hear me? I think I'm getting some comments. I was trying to read that out. Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, so Wikidata lexicographical data started, the discussions to build lexicographical data for Wikidata started in 2012. And by 2016, they started developing Wikidata lexicographical data, like actually creating lexemes and creating tools that support lexemes. Next slide. Next slide, please. All right. So as we've heard a lot about Wiktionary, I want to share a bit more about why I would rather prefer to contribute to Lexemes instead of Wiktionary, even though there's so much I can do with Wiktionary, just like Lexemes, but I will share some basic things that inspire me to edit Lexemes rather than Wiktionary. So with Wiktionary, I think it uses like a standard media wiki extension, which is just like Wikipedia. So you have to create the standard media wiki extension just for one language. And if you need to create like a Wiktionary for another language, you have to create a separate Wiktionary for that particular language. So this makes it quite, very useful for the speakers. But in terms of integration, when you look at the component of Wikidata Lexemes and how it is useful on Wikidata, this is something that I see as one of the barriers that could hinder the contribution of language documentation projects when we are using like Wiktionary, especially for digital dictionaries. And I think it also uses one entity box, which is like Wikipedia. So you have to have like just a single entity box to be able to contribute to Wiktionary in a particular language. And one of the things that I also find with Wiktionary is they use so many predefined templates, as Taufik mentioned. And if you are somebody who wants to contribute to projects without using templates, I think Wiktionary may not be very useful for you. And in terms of building, digital dictionaries, we are looking at building templates that requires updates, that requires copy and edit, like modifying templates to serve different purposes. And then language documentation requires like structured data, like in terms of categorization. Taufik also mentioned that, which is quite closer to Lexemes. So you need to have like specific fields where some certain information are required to be to complete the project or the particular item, if you prefer to call it that way. And so this requires some level of sorry. Yes. So this requires some level of editing with templates, and for Wikidata Lexemes, it makes it much easier because I'll go back to Wikidata, or I'll show you the similarities and what you can do with Wikidata that currently is not supported on Wiktionary. This is not to discourage you from editing Wiktionary, honestly. There are really useful cases that you require, like you need to use like Wiktionary to complete like a project when you are building a dictionary or digital dictionary for your language. And I also think it is not fit to use tools that query data or information like Wikidata. So that's one of the most outstanding thing I see about Wikidata and Lexemes, because it allows you to use tools that are already built by the community to complete a special task by querying data and information on Wikidata. And it does not also link to different languages. Very important. We've seen that with Wiktionary, you are required to build your own project in your own language. But for Wikidata, it's a different thing altogether. Next slide. Next. Okay, so what makes Lexemes more suitable? All along, I've been talking about what makes it less suitable for building dictionary. That doesn't mean that you cannot use, you shouldn't be inspired to create dictionary in your language, but I'm just highlighting some few things that makes it that makes Lexemes more suitable than dictionary when you are building like a dictionary for your language. So Wikidata is a project that is built on wiki-based environment or software, and the same way with Lexemes are also built. So they all use the same technology. They are all powered by the same software. And then Wikidata uses entities such as forms and senses. Wiktionary actually uses senses and also forms that allows you to be able to add those information that you would have done on Wiktionary. And it also requires the use of too many. It doesn't require the use of predefined templates. So this does not require the use of predefined templates. Language documentation, as I mentioned, requires some level of categorization, and this is exactly what Lexemes does. It allows you to be able to categorize, you know, inside the platform, you are able to categorize the Lexeme in different formats, like the lexical category and the forms and senses, statements, properties and values, just like you know about Wikidata. And it has tons of tools that are developed by the community, just like, and it supports Wikidata, just like we all know. There are so many tools that allows you to model data, query data on Wikidata, and also pull out like useful information for different projects. Even beyond Wiktionary, Lexemes, and Wikidata, there are tools that support other Wikimedia projects like Wikimedia Commons and other wiki projects like Wikisource and stuff like that. Yes, it does link data from different languages, so you can actually link your data from one language to another language when you are using Lexemes. It provides support for Wiktionary, so it is also a way to contribute to Wiktionary. Yeah, you can use Wiktionary's data to power Wikidata and vice versa. Next slide, please. Can you go back? I think we missed one slide. Okay, so Lexemes. Why do we care? Why am I talking about Lexemes instead of Wiktionary? I already told you I am more interested in Lexemes than Wiktionary, and these are some of the reasons that I've highlighted in my previous slides. So Lexemes helps us to build like digital dictionaries, spell checks, and also allows you to record audio files from Wiktionary and Lingua Libra directly on Commons, and it also supports tools like Spell for Wiki, which allows you to upload audio pronunciation or audio files to Wikimedia Commons, and they can directly be linked on to Lexemes or Wikidata. So when you record on Lingua Libra, it takes the recording straight to Wikimedia Commons, and that is automatically linked to the Lexemes that you have created. So, for example, with Wiktionary, I probably would want to, do the recording and link it by myself or manually link it. But for Lexemes, I can actually make the recording in Lingua Libra, and the recording will be stored on Wikimedia Commons, and that would automatically be linked to that particular Lexemes on Wikidata. It also supports the build-up to a very interesting project, Abstract Wikipedia, and I also see that Lexemes is a very good place to build, machine translation tools. So the future of translation and language digitization is actually like Lexemes, and I will show you why. Next slide. Okay, so we've been talking about Lexemes and Wikidata. So these are the similarities or the features of Lexeme and Wikidata. I know many of us in one way or the other have contributed to Wikidata somehow. So when you open a Wikidata item, you see the language and a label, description, alias, and some statements that has properties. And for each statement, you have like properties and values, and sometimes you have like qualifiers to that particular properties. And with Lexemes, you have lemma, the lemma and the lexical category. We also have the language. We have the same feature like statements. So just like Wikidata, Lexemes also have statements with properties and values, and they also have, of course, identifiers. Also with Lexemes, we have senses that has properties, and then forms also have properties. Even with senses, we still have statements inside senses. For each sense, you can have like multiple statements, and for each form, you can still have like multiple statements in that particular form. Next slide, please. Okay, so if you open on your browser, this link will be shared to you. We all know that, it is also important for me to share that the installation of Spell for Wiki is currently, the last time I checked, is currently available on Android, not iOS yet. And yeah, so Wikidata item, an example is building, which is also a Lexeme. So building has QID 41176, and also the same building is a Lexeme, which donates L. L is unlike Wikidata, we have QID, and for Lexeme, we have LID. So 387 represents building in Lexeme. And language, Q315 on Wikidata, and also L1145 as an LID for language. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is the structure of a Lexeme. When you open wikidata.org, as I mentioned, LID is the Lexeme ID or the code for Lexeme. And the Lexeme actually means like it's a word or a phrase, basically. And a lemma is the standard form or a dictionary form of the Lexeme. So for lemma, we have like verbs, and they usually have different categories of grammatical features like infinitive form, and for a noun you have like nominative, singular, etc. And for every Lexeme, there should also be a lexical category. So when I'm creating a Lexeme, there should be at least one lexical category, and also the lemma, which is the same as the Lexeme that you are creating. And then there's supposed to be like a language. So in creating a Lexeme, you choose at least one language for that particular Lexeme. So this basically allows you to simply create a Lexeme in your own language or whatever language it is. Just like I mentioned with Lexemes, you don't need to go to, we don't have anything like Lexeme in Dagbani or Malay or Portuguese. You just go to one platform, which is Wikidata, and you can create a Lexeme and link it to several other languages. And just like that. Next slide. Next slide, please. Yeah, so let's try by creating or look into the creation of a Lexeme, how the interface looks like. So if you are familiar with creating Wikidata items, this would probably be very, very similar to what you know. So to create a new lexeme, you go to wikidata.org. I can demonstrate that after, if I have a lot of time, I'll take you through how to create a lexeme from scratch. But this is basically the interface. When you click on the left side, you see create Wikidata items, and just below down, you see create a new lexeme. Once you create that, it takes you to this page, and you see the lemma. The lemma is the particular lexeme you are creating. So in small letters, you start with small letter, then you type that particular lexeme, and then you select your language for the lemma, and the language here is French. The lexical category, whether the lexeme is a verb or noun. So this is basically how we create lexemes, and we can do that when we have like enough time. Please, next slide. Yes, so I also took this just in case we don't get the time to create the lexeme from scratch because of time. This is the lexeme in Dagbani. Alafi. Alafi means help. And once you follow the steps that I highlighted in the previous slide, you see something like this. Yes, I can do the demonstration, sure. So you see something like this. It has the language that I selected at the time of creation, which is Dagbani, and then the lexical category for Alafi is noun. Alafi means help. And we have, I mentioned several statements that you can add to lexemes. And beyond the statement for that particular lexeme, you can actually add like a statement for each of the senses you create. One important thing you need to know is each time you are creating lexemes, you need to make sure you have at least one sense and a form. You can have multiple senses, but it is very important that you add like one sense and at least one form for each lexeme, and probably add like 2 or 3 statements. Next slide. Okay, so we've spoken about senses and forms. I just wanted to show you what senses are. So senses allows you to indicate the description, which is termed as gloss. If you are all familiar with glossary, like when you are reading books, you see somewhere they will say glossary, which gives you like a short descriptions of all the words that you probably will see in that particular book. And for statement, many statements, as I mentioned, for each sense, you can have multiple statements beyond one statement. So there are different ways to add more statements in a particular sense. Next slide. The next thing you would want to look at, next slide, please. So this is the composition of a sense. Now let's look at the composition of a form. I mentioned to you earlier that each lexeme should have at least one sense and a form. So for a form, the composition is, they are normally like the influx of forms of the lexeme, and they have representation, which is one. So you should have at least one representation for that particular form, and then the grammatical feature. So aside from the lexical category, there's also one important feature when you are adding a lexeme, which is the grammatical feature. So in what grammatical feature is the lexeme used? So it could be like nominative and also comparative of past tense, present tense, past participle, and several other grammatical features that we are already aware of. And as I said, it should have like at least one statement or more. So statement could be, let's say, item for this particular form. There are forms that are also like items on Wikidata. That's the most important thing about Wikidata and Lexemes. So you can have an item for this particular form in Lexemes, and then region, period, pronunciation, and even pronunciation variety as statement under that particular form. Next slide. Okay, so this is the end of my presentation, and if you have some time, I will take you through the practical demonstration of how to create a lexeme. Anthony, we have some few more minutes.
Yes, Sadik, you may go on demonstrating so we could also learn how to do it.
Perfect. So I'm going to
Thank you.
share my screen.
Sadik, if you can do well to just speak a little bit louder.
Okay. Okay, so to create a Lexeme, you have to go to wikidata.org and probably log in with your username. I've already logged in. How to search Lexeme. So just like Wikipedia, when you are creating an article or creating an item on Wikidata, you first need to search to make sure that particular Lexeme doesn't exist or that Wikidata item. And you should also make sure you search by using the LID. So for Wikidata, you probably want to start with QID, Q column, the name of the item you are creating. It's the same process for Lexeme. So you need to type capital L column, then you put the name. So I'm going to create, since I understand Dagbani, I'll use Dagbani, but because English has almost everything right now that is covered, so it will be very difficult to come out with a Lexeme that is currently not available on English language, in English language. So I will probably want to demonstrate with a language that I can easily find something to create. So Dagbani, I'll pick Dagbani as one example, which is my native language. So I'm going to create P. So you start with small p, L, P, I, P. P. If you search, you will see P, described in several languages, which is not exactly what I'm creating, right? So that's the beauty of Lexemes. The integration of different languages makes it very easier to build a strong, linked and machine readable open data that can be reused for several purposes, like building application tools, machine translation application that support learning, games and stuff like that. So P is not the same as the L619211, which is a noun in German language. So I'm going to create one. Yes, I cannot find P in Dagbani, so I am free to create a new Lexeme, P in Dagbani. P means like bury, to bury something, to bury something. So I'll click on create Lexeme. At the left side, create Lexeme, and then it will open, it will bring me to this page. So I'll type the name. The lemma is the same as the Lexeme I'm creating. Always make sure you start with a small letter. So P is the word in Dagbani, which means bury, to bury something, bury someone. So, and the Lexeme's English language can be Dagbani. So I'm creating for Dagbani, which is a good or Mabia language spoken in Ghana. And then the Lexeme's lexical category. P is a verb in Dagbani. P, bury, verb in Dagbani. So I will select verb. Then I click on create. So we have successfully created our Lexeme in Dagbani, P, which has L as the LID is 1327173. Just like Wikidata, if you are familiar with Wikidata item, this is exactly how you create Wikidata items, but this is a Lexeme, so it starts with L, and it shows the language, as you can see, and then the lexical category, which is verb. I also mentioned that you can add like statements. So statements, you can also add like a sense or forms. So let's start by adding, we'll leave the statement for now because I said the most important ones are the senses and then the forms. So the language is still Dagbani. GAG, and then the gloss in Dagbani. So the gloss in Dagbani is P. So I can say it's done. It has so many forms, so I can use it in different ways. So P basically refers to berry. Swab. So let me try. The I'm sorry, I'm using background now. So I'm basically saying that to bury, like hide in the ground or put it on the ground. Put it on the ground. So then I will click on. This may not be the exact, gloss. Anybody can edit it as we all know. So, but this is the best I can describe that gloss in Dagbani. So as I mentioned, the beautiful thing about Lexemes is that I can actually add statements to this particular sense, or I add another sense. So this is a sense in Dagbani. So to add another sense without adding like statement for that particular sense, I can still add Dagbani and English. So in English, I will select my language, then keep to, then I'll now describe my gloss to vary some. I don't know if this is descriptive enough, but this is the best I can describe it for the Lexemes in Dagbani. So that's another thing. If anybody speaks a different language, we can add it. So you can have as many languages in this particular sense as possible, which makes it very, very linked. So it allows you to be able to, integrate multiple languages with different Lexemes. Yeah, so I can add the statement for this. One statement for this. Remember, there's a difference between adding a sense in that language and then adding a statement for that particular sense. So adding a sense for this, I can say item for this. I can add a statement like just one statement so that we can go faster. Item for this sense could be bury. To bury something. Am I spelling it correctly? Can somebody help me spell bury? Is it double R? To bury something. Bury. Any help? Okay, let me see in the chat. English is not my native language. Okay, thank you for sharing berry. So if there's an item for berry, let's search it out and see. Well, I don't see any item berry on Wikidata, so let's skip it and choose a different one. So I can say pronunciation. I can put pronunciation for distance. So yeah. Yeah. So I can, if there's a file on Wikimedia Commons that has the audio P, I can actually add the audio file here by putting a statement on that particular sense, pronunciation, and then add a file. So I don't know if there's a pronunciation file in Dagbani called P. So this is basically to walk you through how you can add multiple statements in senses, and also how you can add different senses. So this is just one sense for the lexeme. You can have more senses. You can add another sense by clicking, or probably let's look at adding a form. So the form represents the same lexeme P representation, and then the language is in Dagbani. So that's one sense. Now I need to add the grammatical feature. I mentioned that it is important for you to add the grammatical feature. So this is definitely a verb in Dagbani. I don't know if we have Dagbani speakers on this board. So verb, then I click publish. So this is a very simple and useful lexeme I've created called P, which means berry in Dagbani, and we've added one sense and then a form. If you look at each sense, they have some numbers, and it says that this is the first sense. As I said, you can add multiple senses to that particular lexeme. So like you can have more than one sense added, and then the form. We've added one, and if you add more than one sense, you have this number, and then you have like a number, the number for that particular form, which is 1 or 2. And then the most important thing for this form is that it is a verb. So P, the good thing is that P can also be it can have another meaning in Dagbani, which is the same spelling, but different meaning and different grammatical feature, and also like different lexical category. Yeah. Let me see if there's any question. Do you have any question about lexemes or how to create a lexeme?
Hi, Sadik, Chinu here. I have a request. Can you please share something about the spell for wiki tool that you just mentioned during your presentation?
Sorry, I missed your question. Can you speak a bit louder?
Yeah, is it audible now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, my question is, will you be okay to share something about the spell for wiki tool that you just mentioned in your presentation?
Yes, yes. So, Anthony, can you send me back to the slide presentation, please? Let me stop sharing.
Yes, Sadik. So here is the link for the slide. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay, so I can share the slides from my end. I needed to show some tools that can be useful. Okay, so if you want more resources about lexemes, how you can create lexemes, I've added some resources. Count of left. You can also check out what the performance is about your language on lexemes, and then the lexemes best practices. And there's also like a glossary for all the terms that are highlighted in the presentation. I did not capture some of them, but you can check them out in the glossary. And then you can actually see the statistics of lexemes or lexicographical data in many languages, and then the properties that are currently available in Wikidata on Lexemes. We have very little information about properties now as compared to Wikidata properties. So we have thousands of properties on Wikidata, but because Lexemes is a very new project, as I mentioned, it started in 2016. So we don't have so much property, but you can check this documentation and the resources out. So I also spoke about Lingua Libre. So in case you want to try that out, you can go to Lingua Libre. Then you can log in with your own account, just like the same account used for Wikimedia projects. So on Lingua Libre, you can record or find data sets. You can test or just go to next. So you need to also like specify the languages that you speak. So I added Dagbani, where I live, and then the license. So whatever file I donate to Lingua Libre goes to Wikimedia Commons, and I need to specify the type of license I want for that. Then I go to next. So this is the most interesting part of this session, like the use of Lingua Libre. We have like places you can find data, but most to go to the external tools. So once I create external tools, here, as I mentioned that just like how we query data from Wikidata using Sparkle query services endpoint, you can also query data from, you can query Lexemes on Wikidata using Sparkle query. And if you are looking at adding data that is pulled from Wikidata query services, you just copy the link. So if I have like an existing data like where's Lexemes in Dagbani without forms, or Lexemes in Dagbani without audio pronunciation. So this can probably be very specific. You just query that data using Sparkle query services, and then you paste the URL of that query here, and then you click done. Once you do that, it will pull the data directly from Wikidata through the Sparkle endpoint, and then you'll be able to add the missing pronunciation in those Lexemes. This is one tool I can demonstrate about pronunciation on Lexemes. So this allows you to directly record or add pronunciation for those missing audio files on each Lexeme that you have collected from the query, and then add them directly to Wikimedia Commons. This also automatically adds it to the Lexeme on Wikidata. I don't know if this is useful enough. Sorry, I did not prepare any query like that, but this is just to demonstrate to you how you can add missing audio pronunciation from Wikidata query to like, and automatically add them to Lexemes by using Lingua Libre. For Spell for Wiki, you need to download the application, select your language, because it's available only on Android. I cannot demonstrate here, but it's very simple to do. It's pretty straightforward. Select your language, log in with your Wikimedia Commons account, then type the text, the name of the the word or whatever it is. Type it. You can also use it to actually record like pronunciations or short phrases. So if you are doing like phrases, you just type the name of that particular word you want to record, and then you're allowed to click the record button to be able to record it directly to Wikimedia, and that can also be linked to any Lexeme in your language. So the most important thing to note is to select that particular language. So in a nutshell, all I'm saying is that it's good to edit Wiktionary, but if you are looking at building a structured machine readable data for your language, and also of course linked open data, you should rather be looking at Lexemes, and Lexemes in future, people would be able to create dictionaries by just using data that's available in Lexemes, rather than creating like multiple templates to edit in your language and dictionary. Anthony, how many minutes do I
Thank
have?
you. Thank you, Sadik. So now Chino will be reading some questions for you.
Okay.
Chino.
Thank you so much, Sadiq. This was really insightful, and I can see some appreciations in the chat as well, along with some questions, good questions. So the first question goes from Camilo. I am interested in adding morphemes that make up a word as individual lexemes. Is that possible?
So adding individual lexemes.
I
think I
am
missed that.
pasting the question in the chat again so that it will be easier for you to follow. Yeah. This is the question from Camilo. Yeah.
Okay, I'm interested in adding morphemes that makes up a word as individual lexemes. Is that possible? Yes, of course, it's possible. Does this answer your question?
Okay, so it's possible.
Yeah.
Would you like to follow up of the response with how to do that, or any procedure if you are aware of that would be insightful for? Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know much about morphemes, but if most of the times we create lexemes by looking at the grammatical feature of that particular word that you are creating, or if they are a combination of words. So for example, you can even create lexemes that has compound words, like more than 3 words or 2 or 4 words. There are some languages that have like different words coming together to make a single meaning. I don't know if this is exactly what you mean. Yes, that is possible as long as they make a single meaning and they have a grammatical category or grammatical feature. That is possible. So if you can give us an example, I think we can probably try with that.
Okay, perfect. The next question we have in the chat is from Rennie. Is there any admin committee which check if the contributions are right or not?
Okay, so like right now, just like Wikidata, Lexemes is pretty like flexible, and it does not really require, even though there are places where you need to add like references in any lexeme that you create, but it's a lot of people are at this stage allowed to make mistakes, not to start with making mistakes, but once you make mistakes, there are tools that allows you to be able to see lexemes, for example, lexemes with missing forms. So community members can come to Wikidata to create like lexemes without adding forms. So if you go to tools, for there are several tools that are developed. For example, Audia will allow you to select specific languages, and then you can pull data that has some missing information about that particular lexeme. So yes, there are a lot of mistakes that people make on lexemes in an attempt to create a lexeme. They make mistakes by even adding wrong lexical categories or using description for a form that still denotes the lexeme itself, which is not really acceptable. But you would see that the lexeme will be accepted, on Wikidata. That doesn't mean that it's entirely correct, but yes, you are allowed to make mistakes, and there's always a way to fix that. The community comes together to fix those missing information. So there's a tool, I can send that to you in the chat, odia.toolforge.org. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Okay, well, that is well explained.
Odia.toolforge.org. Send the link here.
Are you sharing something on your screen, Sadik?
Oh, sorry, I've stopped sharing my. I'm just gonna paste the link
No,
you know,
it happens. Thank you.
that makes it very easier. Yeah. So this will give you a very, you know, useful links to like clean up lexemes or find mistakes that are made on lexemes, and you can come together as a community to fix them. There's also, there are several tools when you check in the documentation page. It listed several useful tools that can help you, you know, fix some of these challenges on lexemes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for answering this. The next question we have is, would you also be able to batch add lexemes on Wikidata? I think this is related to the batch uploading of data in Wikidata. And do you know something about copyrights related to existing dictionaries? Can you just copy the words from an existing dictionary to Wikidata? This is the question.
Sadik,
Unmute.
okay.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. Sorry. Yes. So I don't know if I get you correctly, like adding data from a digital dictionary, and you are concerned about copyright or something like that.
Sorry,
So,
I'm
yes,
just, I'm thinking about importing an existing list of words into Wikidata using Lexemes. That's sort of the use case. So, but it's a book.
Yes, you can, but the structure of the dictionary in the document may not be exactly the same as the Lexeme structure. So you may want to like clean them up and use Open Refine. You refine that and probably upload with statements.
Great, thanks.
Thank you, Sadik. The next question is again from Rainy. Is it mandatory to have the meaning of the word gloss in the language added?
Is it mandatory to have the meaning of the words gloss?
Yeah. Is it mandatory to have the meaning of the word gloss in the language added?
Yes. So you should have the meaning of that particular lexeme, and then there's a box gloss. Be able to put it in that particular language, and you can ask as many languages as possible. So yeah, it is mandatory to do that if you are adding a form, a sense. So for each sense, there should be a gloss for that. But like I said, there are a lot of lexemes that are created without senses. But once you are adding a sense, there should be yes, there should be a gloss for that particular sense, and then the language, you can add multiple languages. I don't know if this has answered your question. So the good thing about, I mentioned like how it supports several Wikimedia tools that are already built. So you can use several tools to, you know, create, I just saw a link, which is very useful, like Lexeme forms. So before this tool, you probably would want to come together as a community to build, to create like a form in your language. And different languages have different linguistical, like how the grammatical structure of that particular language, and they vary from different languages. So it probably would be very difficult to do that manual as a community, but this tool helps you to be able to see some examples of how you can create your own forms in your language. So when you click on this particular link, which they have shared in the link, you see several languages and the forms that are currently being used. And this is where individuals can also create their forms by just following a simple form fields. So there's a template that has like fields where you are required to insert like certain information. And then the examples of their usage. For example, if you are creating a form like a verb or maybe a pronoun or any any other grammatical feature, you would have like a description of how the form can be used. So if it's let's say a verb, it will tell you, it will give you like an example of how you can use that particular verb in a sentence, and makes it rather easier for you to just build or create several forms for that particular language.
Well, that was an elaborate answer and well classified. Thank you, Sadik, once again. There is another request in the chat from Mikhail Ban to both of you, Sadik and Taufik. So I was hoping if I could pick your brains, Sadik and Taufik, about using the Wiktionary and Lexemes to get people who are newcomers to the Wikimedia to start recording their languages. As I see, Wiktionary is a bit more user-friendly for the newcomers, but better in the lights of data sustainability. How would you go about this?
Taufik, would you want to come in first? Okay, so for me, I think Wiktionary is much standard in terms of design, and it's pretty like simplified, which makes it very easy for new contributors to contribute to. So I agree with that. For Wikidata, if you are someone who is more like interested in building a linked open data or structured data that is not only available for machines, but for both humans and machines, I would rather recommend you start with Lexemes. And I don't want to say that maybe Wiktionary will become obsolete in future, but that's what I'm seeing, because if Lexemes can generate all this information and even link how they are used in several languages, I think that is going to be more useful in the future for machines than Wiktionary. And of course, the fact that Wiktionary data can still be used on Wikidata Lexemes is also something that is nice for people to look at. For like on the reverse, how can we use Wiktionary data? I don't know how it is done on Wiktionary. How can we use like Wikidata data on Wiktionary? Taufik, do you have any idea how community members are currently using Wikidata data on Wiktionary? I have no idea how it is done, but I know, of course, you can do that from Wiktionary to Wikidata Lexemes.
What was the question again? Wiktionary and Wikidata?
Taufik, the question is about using Wiktionary and Lexemes to get people who are newcomers to Wikimedia projects to start recording their language. Because it seems that Wiktionary is a bit more user-friendly for the newcomers, but the Lexemes that are linked to data, which is better in lights of data sustainability. So what would you like to
Okay.
share on this?
I'm actually a Wiktionary editor, and I also edit on Lexeme Wikidata, so I edit both. But personally, I would say both works as well, but I've never tried teaching newcomers with Wikidata Lexeme, because there's some few concerns that I have with Wikidata Lexeme. So the one of them is regarding about for example, duplicate. So in Wikidata, so you can create duplicate items, duplicate lexemes, unlike like for example Wikipedia and Wiktionary. So if you have already added the word perfect, then other people cannot create another new page for that word. But then for Lexeme Wikidata, and also Wikidata in general, people can just simply create a new similar page. So it would be more difficult for the organizers to make sure the participants to figure out this. But then one good thing about Lexeme Wikidata and also Wikidata in general is that um, newcomers do not need to remember the format. For example, the coding, the wiki codes, unlike like Wiktionary, you need to remember, oh, for heading, you need to put the equal sign. For template, you need to put the curly bracket. But then for Wikidata, it only takes few clicks and a few typing, and then you are done. Unlike Wiktionary, you need to write to type a few keys, and then you can create the data. But for me, both are fine. Wiktionary and Wikidata are fine, but then Wikidata, the organizer need to make sure the participants do not create duplicates. So that's my opinion.
That makes a lot of sense, Sadik and Taufik. Okay, so we have one more suggestion from Raisha regarding the batch upload in Lexemes, which says that there is another tool which exists in the tool force called as Lexeme Forms. She has also pasted the link in the chat. So, yeah, okay. She also says that Sadik's explanation already covered this. Okay, so we are good to go with this. Okay, it's an open call for all the participants. Is there any more questions that I missed or I did not address regarding this slot? We will wait for 30 seconds. Let me check the Jamboard and chat again so that I confirm that I have not missed any question. Thank you everyone for being patient. Yeah, we are cool to go. Okay, so before we move ahead to the last part of our session, I would like to pass it on to Raisha and Anthony. They have something important to announce. So over to you, Anthony and Raisha.
Yes, so Raisha from Wikidata Software Collaboration would like to announce something for the participants here. Go on, Raisha.
Okay, first, I really want to say my heartfelt thanks to the organizers of today's Let's Connect for putting us together in these fantastic sessions, and also to our speaker, Taufik and Sadik, from your wonderful presentation. Me today, I also learned a lot from today's session, so thank you so much. And for everyone here from the previous presentation from Taufik and also Sadik, in relation with the lexicographical data, we are also thrilled to share some exciting news. So we are right now gearing up for a new edition of Lexico Days. So Lexico Days is an online event dedicated to lexicographical data. And this event is a collaborative effort between Wikimedia Deutschland and also the software team in Indonesia. And in this event, we are designing the program to accommodate various time zones and language. So we want to ensure that everyone can join in no matter where you are. And the event itself is scheduled for the end of June 2024. And if you want to know about future information about this, you can join on the Telegram of Lexicographical Data, and also take a look at the page of the previous event, which I will put on the chat. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yep. Okay, there we go. Yep. So that's it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Raisha. That would be an interesting event to attend. So, at this moment, I would want to thank the sharers and the participants of this session. And we have started using the Jamboard at the start of this session to document our languages. And as we go on, we were able to discover two amazing wiki projects where we could document organizedly our own words. So, Wiktionary and Lexemes has both pros and cons, and we don't know what the future of the projects will be. But we could always expect for the best since we as Wikimedians develop these wiki projects collaboratively. So either Wiktionary or on Lexemes, we hope that this session has inspired you into being open knowledge contributors. So thank you everyone. Thank you especially to Sadik and Taufik. Would you want to have some final words for the participants?
You are on mute, Sadik.
Okay, thank you so much for joining. It was really nice to learn from all of you, and also Taufik, my colleague, for sharing the amazing stuff we are doing in Malaysia. And I just want to appreciate all of you for being part of this session. Yeah, we can always talk more about that. If you need like any specific help or guidance, you can connect with the Wikidata Lexicographical team. Also, individual can connect with several volunteers who are actively contributing to data lexicographical data. So I'm open to any comment or suggestions after the session. If you need any help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me directly. Thank you so much for being our wonderful audience.
I forgot. We have a Mentimeter. So yeah, thank you very much. Please just answer this if you have some free time. Thank you.
We can stop the recording, Cassie.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you.